The year was 1907. 16 battleships bristling with 16-inch guns, painted sparkling white, steam out of Hampton Roads, Virginia, to begin a 43,000-mile, 14-month-long circumnavigation of the globe. Its purpose? Demonstrating to the world America's naval prowess. This 4-mile-long armada, its world tour included 20 ports of call on 6 continents, and is widely considered to be one of the greatest peacetime achievements of the U.S. Navy. This particular coin, as you can see on the screen, was minted in 1908, and it shows the Great White Fleet amidst heavy seas. Hi all, it's Frostbite. Hope everybody's doing well. If you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel, hit that like button, and comment down below. We'll be talking about some items here in just a few moments. So the Great White Fleet was sent around the world by President Theodore Roosevelt on 16 December 1907 and would return home 22 February 1909. As stated before, it consisted of 16 new battleships from the Atlantic Fleet. The battleships were painted white with the exception of some gilding scrollwork across their bows. Because of the paint job, they affectionately became known as the Great White Fleet. Here you'll see a photo of what that ship looked like. And you can tell the sparkling white would definitely stand out in a crowd. You like trivia? Well, here's one for you. True or false? The Indian head scent was the only scent that was out when the crew returned home in 1909. Enter your comment down below. I'll get to it in just a little bit, so make sure you stay tuned. The 14-month-long journey was a grand pageant of America's might and sea power. 14,000 sailors would sail 43,000 miles. It was an amazing adventure that covered 6 continents. The USS Connecticut would serve as the flagship under the command of Rear Admiral Robley D. Evans. The fleet would set sail from Hampton Roads, Virginia, 16 December 1907 for Trinidad, British West Indies, Rio de Janeiro, Sandy Point, Chile, Peru, and Mexico. It would then skirt up the coast and end up in San Francisco on May 6th of 1908. While in San Francisco, there was a couple things that would happen. Number one, the USS Glacier would be detached and turn into a supply ship. Now, the supply ships didn't run with the fleet. They had their own agenda and they had their own port, so they would meet the ships at scheduled times and locations. The USS Nebraska, captained by Reginald Nicholson, along with the USS Wisconsin, who was captained by Frank Beatty, would be substituted for the USS Maine and the USS Alabama. They were pulled due to mechanical issues. Also, while they were in San Francisco, Charles S. Speary, Admiral, would assume command of the fleet due to the failing health of Admiral Evans. They would leave on 7 July of 1908 and head to Honolulu. Honolulu, they would make a detour down to Australia, Auckland, New Zealand, hit Sydney, Melbourne, and Albany, then head back up to Manila, the Philippine Islands, Japan, Ceylon, and then end up making a pit stop in Suez, Egypt on 3 January 1909. While in Egypt, the United States would get the call for aid, and they would head to Italy to support. Italy had suffered an earthquake, and they considered this an act of friendship. The Connecticut, Illinois, Coluga, and Yankton would dispatch to Messina at once. The crew of the Illinois recovered the bodies of the American consul and his wife that were embedded in the ruins, while the other ships would pull countless from the rubble. The Scorpion, which is a fleet station in Constantinople, and the Celtic, which was a refrigerator ship, would steam out from New York, and they would hurry to Messina, where they could take over recovery efforts, so that the Illinois and the Connecticut could resume on tour. They left Messina on 9 January 1909. They made a pit stop in Naples, and they headed on to Gibraltar. From Gibraltar, they would stream across the Atlantic and arrive home. When they arrived home, there was some pageantry, of course, and they would be met with President Roosevelt, and they would review the fleet as it passed into the roadstead. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a remarkable coin. I enjoy this coin a lot. This was sent to me by YouTube Me, and it just symbolizes one of America's greatest peacetime achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frostbite. I hope you've enjoyed this section. Have a wonderful day, and as always, take care.